Brother Gooden and I cut them off. I'm just going to tell you when I came here. I came here officially June the 1st, 2001. So I beat the folks who tore down the Trade Center over there. That was the same year, right? 2001, in September the 11th. Well, I was already here officially part of the Atlantic congregation. So this coming June would have made 15 years for Ruby and I being in the Atlantic congregation. And you know something? That's the longest I've ever been in any congregation in my 60 years in the church. Even my home congregation, I didn't stay there very long. But Atlantic, we've been here almost 15 years, so it's a record for us. There's something else that we have in common with Atlantic. I had the brothers in the service department check for me. When did the Atlantic congregation become a congregation? The Atlantic congregation became a congregation on August the 1st, 1959. Now, that was significant to me because in August 1959, I married Ruby. See, so Atlantic has been 56 years in existence, and Ruby and I have been married 56 years. So we have something in common. I won't forget when you were in the congregation, as long as I don't forget how long it was. But it's been quite a beautiful experience. And actually, my experience with Atlantic did not start in June of 2001, because I was in the traveling work here in the city, and I visited the Atlantic congregation back in the early 70s as a district overseer. So Rob, how long were you married then? 72? 4 years? Just 4 years. So I met the young Panero couple. And John, how long were you here when I came? 2 years. 2 years. Yeah, John came September 1970. That's right. I got that from the service. But I've known John for that. You knew my sister before you knew me. Because my sister used to be in Long Island near John. And their sister would do years ago. But I do feel like I have all these connections with Atlantic. And I call Pop too. Pop Fairchild. The record shows that Brother Logan, William Logan, was our congregation servant when this congregation started. Because he came over from Bedford, I think, Bedford congregation, and he became the congregation servant. And Pop was the assistant congregation servant, and Brother Gable, I think it's Walker was the other brother on what we called back then the committee, and that was way back in 1959. And I remember the time when Brother Obar came through here, and he had this idea that, Ralph laughed. He had this idea that we should dissolve as a congregation. I wished I could get Frank back here and see what we have. And this isn't all of us. Even after the Bethelites go, this congregation is going to be a thriving congregation because you have some very fine brothers and sisters here. And you may even get some of us to come give you talks more often than you did when we were here. And detergent.
Yeah.
I think we've committed to the memorial next year or two here, so we're not gone for good. We're gone for now. And we anticipate and we expect that all of you will visit us up there at Walk Hill. Because Walk Hill is where the U.S. branch office will be. That's in contrast to where John is going to be at Warwick. That's the world headquarters. Warwick and Patterson will be world headquarters, but the Walk Hill facility will be U.S. branch. So our whole branch office will be up there. We move up there in January, February, and then the whole service department that we all used to always ask questions to when something comes up in the congregation, that whole service department will move to Walk Hill. And the LDC will move to Walk Hill. LDC, if you don't know what that is, they're the ones now who build kingdom halls, assembly halls, and help in the maintenance of those. So we're going to have something worth coming to see at Walk Hill. I'm advertising. So please feel most welcome to come up. And when you come up, if we hear that you've been there and you haven't contacted Ruth and I, then you're in trouble. But thank you very much. It's been a nice experience. It just doesn't seem that almost 15 years has gone by. But when I look at some of the youngsters and see how they've grown, like the Wood boys, and to see how they've just grown up in full-time service, and it's most encouraging. I look at Nathaniel. When I came here, my first day in field service, I worked with Nathaniel. He was 5. And now I have to serve a little bit. But you have some very good potential here, boys and girls. And who knows, some of the girls may turn out to be Bethelites by some other means. Just sort of letting you know that possibility. But thank you very much for everything you've done for Ruby and I in these 15 years. We feel that we have family in it back. So may Jehovah richly bless you as the days go on. We look to hear how you're doing. So John, who's next?
I'm glad you cut me off. Now we know why we assigned you to give the speech. There's a lot of history back there in your speech. The service department in those details. Well, thank you, brothers, too, for your fine comments. I'm glad you feel that way about us. We feel that way about ourselves, but we appreciate you putting up with us in Atlantic. Just real briefly, because there's no way I can even begin to supersede Brother Weaver's speech, but we just want to thank you. As all of us have left home some decades and decades ago, and others of us not so long ago, it is a change. It's a big change. Country to the city, to Bethel, to a way of life. And Bethel is only part of our life. It's a big part of it. But in order to make a success here, you have to have friends, you have to have family. And the congregation has always filled that role of family. That's where you hear the baby cry. That's where you have your aunties, your grandmothers, your grandfathers, people that can slap you upside the head when you need it. And we appreciate that. If we could just take Atlantic and move it, Brother Weaver, if you could arrange this, somewhere between Walk Hill and Warwick, then nothing has to change. I know that's not possible. But thank you so much for putting up with us, for loving us, for being our family, for being our friends. We really appreciate it. It's made our life much more pleasant. It's made this place home for us. And so we thank you. We thank you for the special dinner that you put on tonight and which allowed us all to enjoy. There is some dessert over here, and there's coffee going, regular and decaf, we have tea as well, so make sure you get some dessert. And again, we appreciate all you do for us, we love you very much.